A handful of days and verses ago, we came across scripture that said, darkness fell over the entire land. And this happened at midday, coincidentally enough, when Jesus was hanging on the cross. Now, that wasn't the only event that was recorded, not just by the Bible, but like I talked about a few days ago, not only did the Bible say that, but also a Roman historian documented that the earth shook, so that there was an earthquake. And so both the biblical and secular source affirming one another that at this time in history, something like that happened. A very unique event, and Jesus just so happened to be hanging on the cross at that time. But the Bible also goes on to say that there was inside the temple, there was a curtain that separated different layers of holy places, levels of holy places. In the most holy place, there was a curtain on the outside that only a few people could enter that most holy place. And that veil was torn from top to bottom. So what that represented was that the old covenant, where we needed someone to intercede on our behalf, was now replaced with the new covenant, and that we could all have access to God. That probably did not go over well, or maybe even still doesn't go over well with those who believe in that old way of having a relationship with God. I mean, think about a relationship with someone. You don't need someone to intercede on your behalf. That's not much of a personal or intimate relationship with somebody. If you tell a third party something and then they go and tell that person, and then that person tells that third party something, they come back with that message. That's not much of a relationship. And that's how things were. Someone would intercede on someone's behalf and take it to God. Now, I'm not saying intercessory prayer and interceding for one another is not necessary, nor am I saying leaders or, preachers, teachers, priests, pastors. I'm not saying that there's no place for them. They certainly have a role, but that is not your way in developing a relationship with God. You don't need someone else to develop a relationship with God. We all can go to Him at any point in our day. We no longer have to go to a particular place at a particular time. So in other words, you don't have to go to church. You can have a relationship with God right where you're at. Church is everywhere you go. That's what God was signifying with this curtain being torn from top to bottom, that we could all go to Him at any point in our day. And so part of my reminder is to not take that for granted, because it hasn't always been that way. It's easy for us to think it's always been that way, but it hasn't been.